Hello everyone, I'm teacher Winnie. Today we'll discuss on Physics SPM Trial 2022 Selangor Set 2 for paper 1. So for first questions, which graph is correct based on the statement above? There is two statements in the questions. One have a positive gradient, and then number two, y is inversely proportional to x. Okay, so based on the graph, okay, we go and find the one that fulfill the first statement, which is have positive gradient. Okay, so this one, the graph is increasing, seems to have a positive gradient, but B is not acceptable because it going downhill. C and D also for the first statement. Then next statement is the relationship where this y is inversely proportional to x, which means when x increases, y decreases, or y versa idea. So if you look at graph A, when x increase, y is increased, so it's not fulfilled. Okay, now for C, because this x is in the fraction idea, so which means when I divide some value, which is getting bigger, it become smaller value, or y versa, when x value is smaller, right? So the end result, it will be big number. So basically, the answer is C lah. D also similar like A, so it's not acceptable. Okay, so when you have this kind of shape, any graph that cut through zero, we actually say the relationship is directly proportional. So generally, you see this symbol, right? There are two ways to read this symbol. If I read this alone, that means y is directly proportional to 1 over x. Or I can also read this symbol if I include the 1 over as well. Then this one become inversely proportional idea. So hence you will have y inversely proportional to x. Okay, so that's why C is the correct answer. B is acceptable provided, okay, your graph in the other way around, so cannot lah. This is inversely proportional graph. This statement is true for the second statement, but not the first statement. Okay, next questions. Irfan will pass in front of the supermarket, which is located 60 meters from his house on his way to the playground, which is located 80 meters from the supermarket. And the diagram one show the route taken by Irfan. What is the displacement? So what is displacement? Displacement is the shortest pathway between the two locations, okay, in a specific direction. So this is the initial point where Irfan starts his journey, and then this is the final point. So the shortest path is basically from this initial straight to the final, and this is also the displacement of Irfan. Now, to calculate this displacement, since the idea look like a right angle triangle, you can use Pythagoras theorem, which is 60 square plus 80 square, square root of 8. So when you press calculator, you will actually get C as the answer. Okay, next question, question 3. Diagram 2 shows a cyclist moving up and then down a hill. The bicycle decelerate as it move up, and then move up the hill and accelerate as it move down the hill. Makes sense, right? When you go uphill, you find it difficult, okay, as the hill is steep, okay. Now, but when you are at this point, when you go down again, you will get faster. So basically, first you need to got the idea. When you go up, you slow down. And when on top you go downhill, you actually getting faster or accelerate. So this is velocity time graph. So for the beginning part, since you are slowing down, so your velocity increasing or decreasing. So velocity is decreases, and later on velocity increases. So among A, B, C, D, D show this idea. Okay, decreasing velocity, then increasing velocity. Question 4. Diagram 3 show a boy being chased by a bull, and the boy ran in zigzag manner because he know that the bull will find it difficult to constantly change the direction of its movement. So why does the bull actually harder to change each movement, because if you compare the mass, you know that the mass of this bull is kind of heavy, right? Due to this idea, when we relate mass with inertia, the higher the mass, the higher the inertia. That's why it is hard for the bull to change its direction. So let's look at the option. A, the bull runs faster than the boy. No. The bull have a greater mass. Yes. And then the bull have a greater size. Greater size doesn't mean it's heavier, right? So not so accurate lah. And the bull have a longer leg than the boy. Also not correct. So the answer is B. Number 5. Two trolleys moving in the same direction are involved in a collision, and trolley P of mass 4 kg with a velocity of 4 meters per second collide elastically with trolley Q of mass 2 kg moving with velocity 3 meters per second. If trolley P stop immediately after collision, calculate the final velocity of trolley Q. Okay, so for these questions, we will use this equation, m1u1 plus m2u2 equals to m1v1 plus m2v2 to solve the questions. Also, assuming P everything is 1 or Q everything is 2. Okay, so the mass for P is 4 initially with the velocity of 4, and then for Q the mass is 2, and then the velocity is 3. Then what does it mean is stop? Stop means your final velocity is 0 lah for P, so that's why this is 0. And M2 is referred to mass of Q, so it's still 2v2. Our purpose is to find v2. So simplify the equation 2v2, you will actually get 4 times 4, 16, 2 times 3, 6, and then you get 22. Then finally, we will have v2 equals to 22 divided by 2, and hence we'll get the answer as 11 for part D. Also, this is how you get the answer for this part. Proceed with number 6. Which of the following is true? Okay, so this questions is related to the idea of this weight. So as you all know, weight is equals to mg, where this weight is affected by gravitational, the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, and basically the differences between mass and weight is mass, they will actually constant, whether they are at outer space, they are on Earth, they are on Moon, but the weight will actually affected by this gravitational field strength. Okay, if you are nearer to the Earth, then this value of G is greater, so your weight is also bigger. Okay, so now we see the option. Mass depends on gravity. No, right? Weight depends on gravity. Yes. And then mass is a force, weight is not a force. Wrong. Mass is actually a base quantity, but weight is a force. So this idea is wrong lah. And then weight is scalar, mass is vector, also terbalik already. Yeah, so our answer is B. Number 7. Diagram 4 shows an object of mass 3 kg is thrown 5 meters upward from the surface of the Earth. Calculate the gravitational force exerted on the Earth by the object. So for these questions, it is on Form 4 Chapter 2 Gravitation. So you are actually finding the universal gravitational force, where the formula is what? Okay, you have the formula of F equals to G. Okay, m1 m2 over r square, where this m1 1 is the mass of the object, then you have the mass of the Earth, assuming m2. Now what is this r? R is the distance from the center of the Earth until the object. So they give you this 5 meters is referred to height, and this is also the radius of the Earth, or 6.37 times 10 power of 6, So in order for you to get R, you need to plus together 5 plus 6.37 times 10 power 6. Yeah. So now you have all the quantity M1, M2, R. And G is actually a constant value that supposedly give you in the formula list. And this value is basically 6.7 times 10 power of negative 11. Okay, so based on this magnitude, all this now you actually can sub inside this equation already. Okay, 6.67, this one, times 10 power negative 11. Then the mass 1, 3, mass 2, 5.97 times 10 power negative, 10 power 24, whole thing divided by R. So your R will be 5 plus 6.37 times 10 power 6 and the whole thing square. Now, every time when you do questions involving gravitation, because they have square lah, or divide, or got cube, or sometimes square root, all this, it's good that one means if you are not good in maths, you always find difficulty one. You solve the top part, you get the answer first, then you solve the bottom part, you get the value first, then only you sub. Then you will have less mistake. So if you do not have any problem when you press calculator, by right, you're supposed to get answer as A, 29.43 Newton. Okay, next questions. The radius of circular orbit of two satellite A and B of Earth are 4r and r respectively. If the speed of satellite A is 3v, what is the speed of satellite B? So first you need to know the general formula. The general formula for linear speed is basically V equals to square root of gm over r. So now we have two satellite, right? Okay, so we have the satellite A and satellite B. Okay, so for A, you can assume this velocity now is what? The velocity now is 3v, right? So you can straight away sub inside one. 3v equals to gm, and then your r, they use capital R in this context is for r. Okay, and then for B, for satellite B, this is what you want to find lah. So V, B, you do know unknown. Then you have square root gm over r alone. Okay, so normally I will use like idea of this B divided by A. Okay, so that your VB is on top. So VB over 3V is also equals to gm over r divide, but then because this is in terms of fraction, so we normally will change it to multiplication. So if you change to multiplications, then you have to swap this, then you have 4r over gm. Next step, you can cancel out, okay? And what is VB? VB is actually left square root of 4 times 3v. Then square root of 4 is actually 2, 2 times 3v, and hence you get what? 6v. Of course, there is other method that you can use, those of you who good in maths, okay, you can do substitution idea, and so on. Yeah, so as long as you get the final answer as 6v, that means you are correct, lah. Number 9. Diagram 5 shows a hot metal ball being immersed into cold water. Which of the following statement is correct if there is no heat loss to the surrounding? Okay, so assumption no heat loss to the surrounding. So let's see all the options first. Heat loss by the hot metal ball is less than the heat gain by the cold water. Cannot. They're supposed to be equal. Then B, heat loss by the hot metal ball is greater. Also cannot. Then C, heat loss by the hot metal ball is equal to the heat gain by the cold water. This is the correct answer. And lastly, the hot metal ball will not lose heat to the cold water. No, they will actually release, what means the heat release being absorbed by the cold water until thermal equilibrium is achieved. Question 10. Diagram 6 show a metal cylinder of mass 2.5 kg is heated with a heater of power 0.3 kilowatt for 3 minutes. What is the specific capacity of the cylinder if the temperature, right, is 34 degrees Celsius? So this is under specific capacity. General formula is Q equals to mc theta. Then this heat is also if you using the heater, that means it's from electrical energy. Also is you can change to PT equals to mc theta. And in this question, they want you to find the specific capacity. So normally I ask students to rearrange so that C becomes subject. You have PT over m theta. Okay. Then before you sub, you must make sure all this quantity they are in SI unit. You see like the power is 0.3 kilowatt, right? So it's actually you times 1300 watt. And then the time is how many? Okay, it's 3 minutes. But again, 3 minutes is not in SI unit. Okay, you need to times 60 seconds. So you have 180 seconds. Then the mass itself is 2.5 kg, no problem. And then the theta is how much? 34 degrees Celsius. So now everything is in SI unit. Then you sub 300 times it, the time 180, the mass 2.5, and then the change in temperature 34. Again, make sure whatever you divide below, you have to put bracket. So after you press the calculator, you will get the answer as 365.29 joule per kilogram per degree Celsius. Question 11, diagram 7 show the cooling curve of a substance. At which state is specific latent heat of fusion released? Okay, so of course this is a cooling curve. So for cooling curve, you start off the state as gaseous state, right? Then liquid, then if they still have, then it's solid. So QR is the state where gas and liquid they coexist, and then ST is liquid and solid coexist. So in which state specific latent heat of fusion? Fusion is the state when liquid becomes solid or vice versa. So that's why this is the correct state lah, which is S T. Yeah, so our answer will be D. Next, which graph show the relationship between pressure and absolute temperature for a fixed mass of gas at constant value? So this is under the idea of gas law. So teacher have this triangle PVT. PVT, and the three side itself represent a law, correct? Where I always tell you all this is what Guru Bahasa Cina. G stand for gay Luzak law, and then B stand for boys law, and then C stand for Charles law. So now you are talking about relationship between pressure and temperature. Okay, so what is the relationship between pressure and temperature? And this two is referred to Gay-Lussac law. So when you heat up something, what happens to the pressure? They will actually increases. And generally, pressure is directly proportional to absolute temperature. What is this absolute temperature? Absolute temperature is the temperature in Kelvin. So, like I mentioned, they are directly proportional. So, under this graph A, B, C, D, which graph is directly proportional graph? The graph shown is actually A. So, the answer is A lah. Now, when do you have the shape look like B increases linearly? If this temperature is in degrees Celsius. Okay, but questions really stated already they want in absolute temperature lah. C and D is also not the graph for this law. Number 13 is on wave topic. Diagram X shows a ball floating in a water tank. Which of the following describe the correct movement of the ball when the wave passed through the water surface? So as you know, water wave is transverse wave, okay? If water wave is transverse wave, that means the direction of the vibration of the particle, right? They have to be perpendicular to the direction of the wave. So the ball is like a representation of the particle. So hence it will actually move up and down, okay, along a which is perpendicular to the direction of wave. So hence your answer will be D lah. 14. Which of the following characteristic of wave changes when waves are reflected? So I always tell students under the wave phenomenon like reflection, refraction, diffractions, they like to ask one is the frequency changes, speed changes, wavelength changes, direction changes. Okay, so for reflection, frequency no change, speed no change, wavelength no change, only direction change. So among this answer, which is changes? Direction. So the other all three quantity they have to be constant. That's mean after the waves being reflected, they should have same wavelength, same frequency, same speed. Number 16, mammography is a process of examining the human breast to detect the occurrence of cancer. Which electromagnetic wave is used for this purpose? So basically, mammogram is using this X-ray. They are using X-ray. Okay. Now, of course, this X-ray is radioactive lah. That's why woman which is pregnant, all this, they cannot undergo this examinations one. Yeah. Number 17, diagram 10 shows a ray of light being directed to a glass block. Which statement is correct? Okay, so when the ray is travel from air, and it seems like this one is toward what? A denser medium glass, right? Okay, so basically the ray will slow down. Okay, if they are slowing down, that means the ray will refract towards normal. If they are straight, no bending, so this is towards normal line. So yes, A already show the incident angle equal cannot. So this is incident angle, refracted angle, incident angle more than refracted angle. That becomes slow down. My teacher say so faster, also wrong. Then the intensity, okay, it won't affect the intensity of light when you pass through different medium of different density. Number 19, diagram 11 show an object placed in front of convex lens. So what are the characteristics of image form? Okay, so I always tell students, you have 6 different position object, position 1, position 2 object at F, then between F and 2F, third case, fourth case exactly on 2F, fifth case more than 2F, and also case 6 at infinity. And they're already fixed on if you construct the ray diagram, all these you'll find out at the end their characteristic like a rhythm, or teacher always say what boom, boom, rim, ris, read. Okay, so of course in this context they are case 3 so they are real, inverted, and magnified. So real, inverted, virtual cannot already. Then real, inverted, magnify also cannot. Real, inverted, diminish cannot. Real, inverted, enlarge. Enlarge and magnify is same meaning. So the answer is D lah. So it's good that you all remember this chart. Okay. 20. What are the requirement condition for the lens to be used as magnifying lens? And the lens have the focal length of F. Okay, first thing, most of the applications we will make use of convex lens, except the spectacles we are using concave lens. Okay, so no doubt magnifying lens also will use convex. Okay, concave not suitable. Now, if you want it to be magnified, if you notice just now, teacher got mentioned the image formation, right? Have 6 different cases. You want it to magnify, you have 6 cases, you have boom, boom, rim, wrist, read. So magnifying glass, the image should be upright one and magnified. So it's either case 1 and case 2, but case 2, the image form basically is at infinity lah. So case 1 is the best choice. So that means you have to locate your object less than focal length. Less than focal length. So that's why the read chart is important. Not only you know where is the position of object, what is the final image form, you need to state clearly one, or you cannot say the object placed very near to the lens or very far. You need to be specific which one. 21. Okay, this is from 5 question, chapter 1 on resultant force. Diagram 12 shows a pulley system used to lift load of 12 kg and 8 kg. Calculate the magnitude of acceleration A of the system. Okay, so for you to solve these questions, you need to know the idea in terms of force lah. Okay, so the left side, what should be the weight? Okay, weight equals to mg, so g nowadays is 9.81, so you calculate and get the weight on the left side, the load for the left side. Then you get 78.48. Then you also do the same thing for the right side, 12.9.81, you get 117.72 Newton, the weight. Okay, so to calculate this, you are generally using the Newton's second law. F net equals to MA. So how do you get the net force on this system? Okay, so your net force involve only these two. Okay, so we will use 117.72 minus 78.48. Now, this mass is referred to the mass for both load, which is this 8 and also 12. So you have 8 plus 12, and then you have A on. Then you calculate A equals to 117.72 minus 78.48. You're supposed to get 39.24, and then you divide by 20. Then you're supposed to get the answer as C, 1.96 meter per second per second. Move on, question 22. Diagram 13 show a wooden box moving on a rough surface when pulled by a man with a force of 150 Newton, and the frictional force acting on the wooden box is 50 Newton. What is the resultant force acting on the wooden box? Okay, so when you want to find the resultant force, you need to make sure the force all are the force that involved in a horizontal. So this 15 is frictional force, the gives symbol FR. Now you have a pulling force here. So generally you can resolve this force into the X component and Y component, and we only focus on this Fx lah. Okay, since the angle is touching, so it's actually 150 cos 40. You can get the relationship whether they are cos or sine using trigo, complete the right angle. Okay, so then FR and FX is basically in opposite direction. So you need to denote one of the direction in positive, and then the other one as negative. So your resultant force, F net for this case will be 150 cos 40 minus 15. So again, you press calculator, 150 cos 40 minus, so you will get 114.91 minus 15. So you'll get 99.91. Okay, question 23. Diagram 14 shows a block slide down a frictionless plane that is inclined at an angle theta. If the gravitational acceleration is g, what is the acceleration of the block? So first you need to identify the direction first. So g is downward, and then this acceleration of block is actually in this direction. Okay, so if you want to relate it, okay, first it's like you are doing the resolution of force lah, but then in this case they only want you to relate with this acceleration, so but you still can do the resolution. That means you can also have this component, which is perpendicular to each other. Next you find the theta. So this theta is also located over here. Okay, I always tell students if you use number, then it's easy to perceive the idea. This is 30, this is 90, then this is 60. But then 60 and the green theta is again 90 degrees. So that's why the theta, it will get back 30, correct? So that's why this theta and this theta is the same. Okay, then if you base on trigo, you actually complete the right angle triangle. Understand? So this is the A ma. This is the blue one is G ma. So how do you relate the GA and also the theta? So you use the sine function SOHCAHTOA. So opposite over hypotenuse, which A over G, and A is supposed to be G sine theta lah. So this is how you get the relationship. The answer is D. Number 24, which among the graph of A, B, C, and D in diagram 15 show more forces needed for the extension of the spring? Okay, so for these questions, you need to know this force versus extension graph. The gradient is actually represent the spring constant, or is equivalent to the idea of spring constant. So this spring constant K, right? When it is higher, that means it is harder to pull. You need more force. Yeah. So among this one, we want to find the greatest gradient one, the steeper one. So A, B, C, D, which graph is steeper? A. So that's why the answer is A. 25. The pressure of water on the ground floor of two-story house is 60 kilopascal, while on the first floor is 20. Estimate the height of the first floor. Okay, so they're using the liquid pressure idea. Also, liquid pressure is H rho G. Okay, so what is the difference between the pressure between the first story and also the ground and the first floor? Yeah, so you are using 60,000 minus 20,000. And then H is what you want to find. And the rho is the 1,000 and G is 10 or 9.8 is more accurate one. So you rearrange, you will have 40,000 divided by 9810, and hence you get about 4.077 meter. So the answer which are closer is B. 26. Which of the following instrument used to measure gas pressure? Okay, so of course, pressure have a different type unit. Also, one of it is actually in the unit of PSI. So actually, the answer is A already. Or you can see for other instrument, but it's their usage. So C is actually aneroid. Aneroid manometer is to measure atmospheric pressure. So that's why it's not the answer. B, this got this kilometer per hour, right? It's actually measure it's called speedometer. Yeah, so it's also not correct. And lastly, this is actually a balance used to measure the mass. Okay, yeah, so the answer is A. 27. Diagram 16 show a hydraulic system. Which of the following is true about the hydraulic system? So hydraulic system is under Pascal principle. Pascal's principle state what? Okay, the pressure is transmitted uniformly throughout the whole enclosed fluid. Okay, so therefore the idea behind is P1 have to be equals to P2 because the pressure is transmitted uniformly. Okay, so why is it so good under hydraulic system is if they were to have smaller area, the force applied will be less compared to this bigger area, and then the force produced is actually big. Okay, so we always have this formula F1 over A1 equals to F2 over A2. Okay, then like I told you all, okay, normally I show student using number easy to get. So supposingly area 1 is 1, small value, area 2 is 10, assumption only. So let's say the force applied F1 is 1. So what should be your F2? It should be 10, correct? Not then only you can have the equal relationship. So I will tell students small area, small force, big area, big force. Okay, so now we see which statement is correct. The pressure exerted on the input is smaller. Okay, wrong law. Because they should be equal. The pressure exerted on input piston is equal to output. Yes, this is correct answer. The force exerted on the input is greater. No, it should be smaller. So it's also wrong. Okay, then D, the force exerted on input is equal to the output piston, also wrong. It's supposed to be small. 28. A rectangular box with a mass of 60 kg have dimension as shown in diagram 17. Assuming the box float, how deep will it sink in the fresh water? So assuming this block is already in the fresh water halfway through here. Okay, now first thing, because they're saying the block is floating, so you will have this relationship, the weight of this block supposedly equivalent to the buoyant force. Weight equals to buoyant force. Okay, so to get how deep this block can submerge, we assume this is H, you actually need to find out what is the volume of the block submerged. This is the volume part, the volume part. Yes. So weight is mg, buoyant force is rho vg. So we find what is v first, but it's not final answer yet lah, because we need to know the depth of submerged only ma. So now we solve this first. G can be cancelled out. V equals to mass over density. So the mass of this block is basically 60, and the density is 1000, and we will have 0.06 meter cube. Okay, then how do you all calculate volume if you are giving the width and also length? Okay, so basically length times width times height, you get the idea of volume, right? So your length is 1 times 0.8, the width, the h is what you want to find lah, and the volume is actually 0.06. So finally h equals to 0.06 divided by 0.8, and you will get the answer as B, 0.075 meter. 29. A ping pong ball is hit with a backspin, causing it to move forward in a curved path as shown in diagram 18. The curved path of the ball is due to what? Okay, so this is under Bernoulli principle. So what does Bernoulli principle state? That Bernoulli principle state that when the speed is high, the pressure is low, or vice versa idea. Okay, so when this ball is being hit, right, they spin in anti-clockwise. So as you can see, the direction of airflow, correct? Okay, so basically, the speed on top at X region should be high, pressure below, and then compared to Y, the speed of air should be low, but pressure is high. So this difference in pressure will causing a force to spin the ball lah. Okay, so now we see the option which is correct. The air pressure at X is higher. No, it should be lower. So wrong. The air pressure is lower at Y. No, so it should be higher. The air velocity at X is lower. No, it should be higher. What? The air velocity at Y is lower. So the answer is D lah. Okay, next one. Question 30. Diagram 19 shows a wire of length 40 cm and cross-sectional area 5 mm second connected across a dry cell, and the ammeter reading is 3 ampere. When the wire is replaced another wire of same material, the ammeter reading becomes 6 ampere. So what is the possible new length and cross-sectional area of the new wire? Okay, so now the context is the current initially, assuming I1 or 3 ampere, have changed to become what? 6 ampere. That means your current increases already. So if current increases, how do you relate the idea with resistance? The resistance will reduce, correct? So therefore, your idea behind it is you should have a low resistance wire. Okay, so now we see the relationship between length and resistance. So basically, resistance is directly proportional to length. This one, resistance is inversely proportional to cross-sectional area. So these two factors you all need to know. So longer length, higher resistance. So we shouldn't have longer length. We should have shorter length lah, by right, okay? And then in terms of cross-sectional area also, we should have smaller area. Okay? Then only we will have sorry, why was that already? You're supposed to have shorter length, so lower resistance. Or you should have a bigger area, so I terbalik just now, sorry, to have lower resistance. Or you need to know one of the contacts should be smaller than the either the length smaller, constant area, or vice versa. So you see, the current increase double, double. Okay, that means your resistance reduced also by half. Okay, so shorter length. If your length is shorter, I say already area have to be constant. So now this one cannot because it's not remain. From 40 become 20 shorter, but that area, yes. Now this is constant, but your area have to be double, bigger. You know, this one reduce cannot. If this is 10, then correct. This one, the length even increase. So this is not acceptable lah. Then this one increase mark, so cannot. So the best answer is B. 31. Diagram 20 shows a graph of potential difference V across the terminal of a cell with the current I that pass through the cell. If the internal resistance of the cell is 1.25 ohm, what is the value of Q on the graph? Okay, so this is the graph or the result obtained to find the EMF and also internal resistance. So basically, you can get the EMF from the y-intercept, and then the internal resistance small r using negative gradient. Okay. Also, to get the value of Q, we relate with internal resistance, we find the gradient. So we need to have this coordinate. So this coordinate is 0.25, 0.8, and then this coordinate is basically Q and 0.4. So now, because we are using the formula gradient now, m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the gradient should be negative. So my value, it becomes negative 1.25. Okay, and then you have what? 0.4 minus 0.8 over Q minus 0.25. So I will bring this whole thing up first. So Q minus 0.25. Then you have negative, right? 0.4 divided by negative 1.25. Okay, then you slowly press a calculator, you get this one 0.32. And finally, Q equals what? 0.32 plus 0.25. And then you will get the answer as 0.57. 32. What is the electrical energy used by 240 volt, 1.5 kilowatt iron in 40 minutes? So this is potential difference, this is power, this is time. So they want energy. So general formula energy consumption is power time, but everything must be in SI in it. So 1.5 kilo become 1500 watt. And then the time you have to times 60. So once you press calculator, you'll get the answer as 3600,000 joule. Question 33, diagram 21 shows a current carrying wire between the poles or a pair of permanent magnets. What is the direction of the resultant force? Now, since the conductor have this current, so therefore we are using Fleming left-hand rule. This is under the concept of catapult field. Left-hand rules, okay? Okay, so recall back how to use your Fleming left, FBI, make sure your three finger is perpendicular to each other. And then this is force, the thumb is force. B is magnetic field, I is current. So we want to know where is the thumb pointing. Okay, so your current basically pointing up, so your middle finger you put up first. Then north to south is something like this way. So you see your thumb is pointing where is something go towards the direction of C. That's why the answer is C. 34. Diagram 22 show a bar magnet that is being pulled out from a solenoid. What is the polarity of solenoid at X and the deflection of galvanometer? Okay, so this is under the idea of Lenz's law. Lenz's law state that the direction of the pole is, or the magnetic is always opposed the magnetic effect. That means now this end of the magnet south, right? They actually move away. So X have to pull it back. So in order to pull it back, X should produce a north pole. Now, you already get the pole. Then next thing regarding the galvanometer deflection, right? You actually use the right-hand grip rule. Okay, so right-hand grip rule got two usage. One is thumb is current, and curve finger is magnetic field direction. So for determine the polarity, right? Thumb is north pole, and then curve finger is current. So my current actually curve up. Okay, so you will the current come from the left side, right? Therefore, the galvanometer will deflect left. So deflect left, north. So that's why answer is A. Question 35. Diagram 23 shows an ideal transformer used to light up a bulb at normal brightness, and the number of turns of primary coil is 500 turns, while number of turns in secondary coil is 200 turns. So what is the output voltage? So this is Vp. They want you to find Vs, and then MP is 500, and S is 200. So we will use the ratio method, which is Vs over Vp equals to Ns over Mp, right? So therefore Vs equals to 200 over 500. Vp will bring over the other side, then you times 240. So when you press calculator, you'll get your answer as 896 volt, 96 volt. 36. Diagram 24 shows a circuit containing dry cell connected to a bulb and a diode. When the switch is turned on, the bulb does not light up. Which of the following causes the bulb to light up? So initially when you close, not light up. Why? Okay, this is diode and the connection of this diode, right? This is a P-type connect to negative terminal, N-type connect to positive terminal. So you will cause the connection of what we call it as reverse bias. Reverse bias means current cannot flow. So in order for you to allow current to flow, you have to make sure that the diode is in a forward bias. So for you to allow current to flow, the forward bias connection will be actually what? P connect to positive, and then N connect to negative. So either you reverse the diode direction or you reverse the battery, either way. Okay, so we see which is the proper option. Adding more diodes, not accepted. Adding more dry cell, also not accepted. Reversing the terminal, yes, okay. Because when you reverse it to become this one shorter, this one longer, that means this one is negative, this positive. So negative to N, positive to P. Then deconnecting a resistor in parallel also no point because resistor is to reduce the current flow only. Number 37. Diagram 25 shows the symbol of an electronic device. Name this device. So they have 3 legs. So actually this is a transistor. Okay, but how do you identify whether it's NPN or PNP? You look at the emitter leg. They always have an arrow. So you just need to know how the direction of current flow. Current always flow from what terminal to what terminal, positive to negative. And generally base layer will be different from the other 2 side layers. So this is actually PNP. So that's why the answer is B lah. Now if it is NPN, that means the arrowhead have to point the other way around, upward lah. 38. A nuclear reaction is described by the following equations. Which of the following statement does not describe the nuclear reaction above? So uranium becomes strontium and xenon at the same time have 3 electron plus energy. So generally this is a nuclear fission. So fission is correct regarding, but they want to find the one that wrong ma. Release energy, yes, extremely high energy, can cause chain reaction because you have neutron, right? This neutron will find more uranium to bombard. They occur in the sun, no, so this is the answer. This is wrong. So this process that occur in the sun is actually nuclear fusion, not fission. Yeah. Question 39. According to quantum theory of light. So under quantum idea, actually light exists as what? As a particle, light behave like particle. So we name them as photons. Okay, light in electromagnetic wave, no, okay. Light is continuous energy. This one is the light in a waveform. Then light is directly proportional to energy. That's why we can calculate photon energy using HF, or their relationship is directly proportional. Then light energy is directly proportional to wavelength. No, because frequency and wavelength is inversely proportional, or you can have E equals to C over lambda. So they are inversely. So this is not correct. So your answer is C lah. Last one, number 40. The threshold frequency for metal is 3.5 times 10 power 15 Hertz, and the light with a wavelength of 1 times 10 power -7 meter fall on its surface, giving the light speed is 3 times 10 power 8 meter per second. So they want you to find which following is true, which is the correct one. So as you all know, if you want photoelectric to effect to occur, the frequency of the light must higher than the threshold frequency, higher. So therefore, we have to find out this frequency first lah. Now, they didn't directly give you the frequency, but they give you the wavelength. So how do we relate it? We will use C equals to F lambda, right? So F equals to C over lambda. So let's calculate out the frequency of this light first. So 3 times 10 power 8 divided by the wavelength, 1 times 10 power -7. Make sure you put bracket. And at the end, you will get the frequency as 3 times 10 power 15 hertz. So this frequency is less than the threshold frequency. That means there will be no this photoelectric effect, because this is F naught. Yeah. So no photoelectric. This is the true one. The photoelectron emitted with zero velocity also not correct. They emitted with certain velocity also not correct. Yeah, so the answer is A lah. Okay, so that's it. We actually finished with the Selangor paper 1. So we'll see again in others state paper. Thank you. Bye bye.